What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Uh, Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on this kid, Cade Cunningham, right? And I was watching the running back podcast, and they were talking about Cade Cunningham. They had BJ Bickerstaff on there, right? The head coach for the Detroit Pistons. And he was talking about like the new vibe and the new energy in Detroit because like things are coming together for Detroit. Last season, they kind of really like caught people off guard, and was like one of the surprise teams in the NBA. But this season, they not sneaking up on nobody this season, and still they looking good, right? They looking good, and they led by Cade Cunningham. And I'm every season you see more improvement from Cade Cunningham. I think only thing I think really like he needs to work on his game is right now is probably like being more efficient and having a go-to move, right? Not so much. I seen him win a couple games, last second games, but he had to really work hard to get his shot off, right? And I think as he mature and he learns how to play the game, he'll have a go-to move, whereas though he'll be unstoppable. I'm not sure how tall he is. He looks to be like about 6'6", 6'7". I'm gonna find out what his height is. So with the height that he have, though, he could develop a really strong mid-range game, whereas though he'll be unstoppable. And so with that being said, I'm gonna play the audio from which running back. Like I said, they were interviewing BJ Bickerstaff, and he was talking about not just Cade Cunningham, but the other guy I like, Isaiah Stewart. Like Isaiah Stewart to me is almost like on that team, he's like what Charles Oakley was for Mike when Mike first got to the league, like that enforcer, and he the one that's where all the BS stop at, right? Because you're not going to intimidate or try to bully this Detroit team, because of Isaiah Stewart. It's just not going to happen. So I look for them to be in a championship real soon, especially coming out of the East. I think Cleveland has really fallen off. Boston look like they can be, I'm not sure what to make of Boston, but coming out of the East, I think Detroit is probably, in my opinion, going to be the biggest threat. But with that being said, man, let me play this audio from the show and get some of their reaction of what BJ Bickerstaff had to say about
that was one of the weakest intro.
No, you know what?
We could have some old school highlights or something.
Yeah, I want to see Coach bring that ball.
Put some respect on my guy's name.
You hate that clip? We'll change it. What do you need?
Yeah, I feel like every time I come on here, you play the same clip, and Chandler says the same thing.
A whistle on a clipboard. It's not
go back
cool.
and get some University of Minnesota footage.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see me out there. Yeah.
Okay, well, we will do that next time you come on. And by the way, congratulations, Eastern Conference Coach of the Month, 2 months in a row.
Two times.
God, everyone's gonna hate you.
Well deserved, too, Coach.
Tell me about the
Thank
vibe. You guys, look, you guys were the story last year, and you've just sort of carried that into this, and it's of all sports. I love this story so much. What's it like being a Detroit Piston right now?
I mean, it's awesome, to be honest with you. The vibes are unbelievable in our locker room, in the city, in our building. People are so excited, that we're back to playing the level of basketball that this city deserves. And, it's a ton of credit to our guys, the way they go out and compete every single night, the way they scrap, the way they fight, how they compete, and then give Trajan a ton of credit for putting this group together. Excuse me. And, we're in a good spot, but, we're not done. We're process driven, and we're still working to improve some areas. And we got a ways to go in that.
How much did the playoff run last season? What did that do for a group of young guys as far as confidence is concerned?
Well, it made them understand what it takes and how important, every possession is, and how in those types of win or go home situations, playing in Madison Square Garden, was a great opportunity and experience for our group to feel what it's like to literally be, Detroit versus everybody. And, That's how you win in this league, is you understand your experiences, and then you allow those experiences to catapult you and grow into the next season. And I think our guys learned a ton, about situational basketball and how important, it is to prioritize all those things.
Coach.
I can agree with that, right? Because looking at how Detroit played last year in the playoffs, that was their first, that unit, that was their first time being in the playoffs, right? And they didn't look real bad in the playoffs. They, was very competitive. But I can just see, like, this year they have like a different type of, like a different energy about them this year, and a different type of confidence with them this year. So I can see that they really learned from their experience last year. Then Cade Cunningham, in my opinion, looks better this year than he did last year. So with him being their leader, and then he accepting the fact that he has to get better every year, that's a good sign for the Detroit Pistons.
This week in particular is different because the NBA Cup, and obviously we never played in something like that, but you basically have the whole week off. Like, do you give guys more off days? Are you doing more contact practice? Like, how do you manage to deal with this week when you didn't qualify for the Cup?
So we were off yesterday. We gave our guys off today. We'll do some individual work tomorrow, and then Wednesday, Thursday, we'll have full contact practices. So basically you're trying to get guys, who are a little banged up, some days to rest. Then you work on the individual skills and how those skills fit within your system. And then we'll practice and clean up some of the things. We're coming off a stretch where we had 6 games in 9 nights. So we weren't able to practice a ton. So being able to have 2 days where we can fully get after it and clean up the details, I think will help us. And then again, get guys healthy who are banged up a little bit.
JB, early in the year, I mentioned that, I would love to be a part of a Piston-style team. I love the way you guys play. What was it that helped establish kind of this grit and grind style of basketball for this team?
It's the makeup of the guys that we have here, one. But two, also, when you come into a new team, you want to study the history of the team, right? And understand, what the fan base, has embraced and what the fan base loved about their team. And when you come to Detroit, it's obvious, right? Going back to the bad boys, to the next group, the best 5 alive with, Rasheed Wallace and that group, and Ben Wallace and, all those guys. You study that and you understand what the fans are looking for. And to the best of your ability, you try to recreate that. And I think that's what we've done here. And, again, but you can't do it if the personalities of your team doesn't fit it. And our personalities fit it. You know what I mean? Like, we got guys, who do like to get nasty, who do like to mix it up, who do like to make people.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing with, like I said, they have Isaiah Stewart, and they had another guy that they're going to mention, that this guy also is, like, they have a physical team, a very imposing type team, and then they have Cade Cunningham, who's going to take care of the scoring. And what's the Azure Thomas, Amen Thomas' brother is there, so he's a really good, like, small forward type player. So they have they got that balance, and so yeah, they're gonna be tough to deal with in the playoffs.
Uncomfortable and see how they respond. And it's a real thing. Our guys aren't out here bluffing. It is what it is. So being able to do that and then have the skill set that the guys have, it plays right into it.
Yeah, and obviously the head of the snake for you guys is Cade, and he's turned him into a legitimate superstar with everything that he's doing. Tell me some things behind the scenes, his leadership style that's been able to push you guys forward behind the scenes.
Yeah, the one thing that I say about Cade, and I find it to be really, really unique in his position, is he's the type of dude who can get full without taking food off your plate. And that's how he treats his teammates. Like, he wants to make sure that all of his teammates are taken care of, that they're all served. And he, and it's day to day with him. Every single day, he's the same. He's looking to take care of his teammates and be a part of the group. Nothing he does separates him from the group. And for a guy to be able to ascend to superstardom like he has and not change a bit and not take anything away from anyone around him, but ultimately help the people around him, that's who he is. And it says more about his character than it does his basketball skill.
Yeah, absolutely.
JB, Cade has put himself.
Cade Cunningham, man. It just, and in my opinion, just seemed like these guys really get along and they like each other. And now, as far as like the makeup and the personality of the team, I think that probably comes from they just have the personnel, just like the Bad Boy Pistons. They just have that personnel just to be that type of team, like with Isaiah Stewart and some of the other guys who are more physical than I would think that than Cade Cunningham is.
In the MVP conversation this season with his play, can you spend a moment to make a case as to why he should be the league MVP this season?
Yeah, I mean, he's, to me, especially when it's winning time, he's been the best player in the league in crunch time. His understanding of how to manipulate the game and make plays down the stretch, has led to, why we are 19-5 at this time. We don't have a bunch of games where we've blown people out. A lot of our games have been highly contested going down the stretch, and he's been able to make plays for us on both ends of the floor. He's not a one-dimensional guy who can just score it. He's a guy who can defend. You see him getting blocked shots. You see him getting steals. He gets rebounds. And he's made his teammates better as well, and is a big reason for the position that we're in right now. And I think, I think we ought to reward character. I think we ought to reward guys who are great teammates. What the league is trying to develop in these superstars, shouldn't just be about the game of basketball itself. It should be about the type of people and how they carry themselves and how they push the league forward. And Cade has done all those things.
All right. So, yeah. And I think like I said in previous videos, right, I just think that style of basketball, like the old school style of basketball, is coming back, where like the guys who are winning and making it to the playoffs every year, guys who are like two-way basketball players. That's what I like about OKC. They have defenders. They got guys who can play on both sides of the court. And especially like Shai Gilgeous, right? He's their leader. He's a two-way basketball player. You got Cade Cunningham. He's Detroit's leader, and he's a two-way basketball player. So he's not going to be chalking up points on one end, then at the other, and he's going to be a liability. It don't work like that. He is playing. He strap up and play tough defense. And that's, so when they have these arguments about, players like the Joker, Luka Doncic, and anybody who don't play both sides of the basketball, I don't even really worry about those guys, because in the long run, I know that the guys who play defense and the guys who are two-way basketball players, those are the ones who are going to have dynasties, and they're going to have more success than the guys who, getting a whole bunch of assists, getting, scoring a whole lot of points and stuff like that, And so this style of basketball is just coming back, because you have to be a two-way basketball player if you want to be somebody who is considered elite, one of the greats, And so that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.